Welcome to the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship here at Knockhill Racing Circuit. Andy Forrest is on the front row of the grid with Ron Cumming, Greg MacArthur, Paul Bryden. And what you're going to notice here is we effectively have three grids of cars. We have got the normal Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship at the front. We've then got a couple of Super Tourers in the middle of the pack. And then we have a grid of visiting Global Lights, which is great to have the Global Lights back at Knockhill and on the SMRC calendar. Difference for this race as well, we're going to have a rolling start. We've got a few radicals out there as well, so the rolling start process just makes it a lot easier for those cars to get going. Let's also have a rolling start to their race proceedings. So, lovely sunny skies here at Knockhill Racing Circuit as the Super Tours get away, and then the Global Lights will head away at the back. ECU Master putting a bit of help in towards this championship as well, and we are now getting set to go racing here at Knockhill. Andy Forrest, pole position from Ron Cumming, the Radical of Andy Forrest and the Nemesis kit car of Ron Cumming. Ron's had a few issues with that car, but when it goes, it really goes. Greg MacArthur, another Radical SR3, and Paul Bryden in his BMW, well, it's a Scandinavian touring car, isn't it, with a V6 Nissan engine in it. It's extremely quick. Now, we have got a busy track as well, we should mention that. We just talk about the top four. 29 cars in total, so a very, very big grid of cars. But behind Paul Bryden, the return of David Heaton. David's put his Caterham R400 5th on the grid after qualifying. And Robert Drummond in the Escort Cosworth. We could say aging Escort Cosworth, but it's run by Stuart White and it's a fast bit of kit. Robert Drummond, P6 on the grid, just ahead of Will Robson. And then we go to Conrad Murray before we get into the first of our Global Lights, and that's Jake Byrne. So the pace car comes through the hairpin at quite some speed and heads for the tri-oval, and we get everybody else coming through the hairpin now. We go for a rolling start. Everybody making their way through. We will imagine it will be a battle between Forrest and Cumming at the front. These cars, as we go on board with Greg MacArthur, a view that I'm used to seeing. I do like a good Radical, and he gets done off the start though by a cheeky Paul Bryden, as Bryden takes the BMW silhouetted Scandinavian touring car into third position, while we did see Forrest battling away with Ron Cumming. The Global Light pack up towards the flag, and away they go. Little 600cc engines in those cars. As we get down towards McIntyre's, this is going to be a very busy race. It's going to be all over the place with action. So fair play to our camera guys for keeping up with all the action as it happens. That's Scott Tolan there. And Scott has got Keith Cowie. You can imagine there's going to be a fair bit of pressure for Tolan to deal with Keith Cowie for this race as they go up the back straight towards Clark's in the group of Global Lights. And already the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship cars crossing the line to click off their first lap here. This is a Saturday race. It's a David Leslie Trophy meeting in July. And as we can see, we have got 29 cars in grid, but what we have also got is lovely weather. The weather conditions set to change throughout the course of the weekend, so we'll just have to see exactly what they do. As Mark Dawson goes through the shop in front of us, going through McIntyre's, as we pick up with the guys coming through the chicane. Now David Heaton, the returning David Heaton, a man in the Caterham 400. David, well, 2.3 litres that car, he slots himself into the A3 class. There are a lot of classes in the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship, as Cumming has a little bit of a lock-up leading the race ahead of Andy Forrest. Lots and lots of classes, some turbocharged, some four-wheel drive, some two-wheel drive. It depends on engine size as well, as they come up the main straight over the crest of the hill. David Heaton under pressure now from Robert Drummond, and that Escort just gets faster and faster every time we see it. Steve Walsh out there also in the Caterham 7. And Scott Tolan comes through here with a very smoky Escort Cosworth ahead of Keith Cowie, Will Robson, Patterson, and then we've got the first of our Super Tourer cars out there. That's Alistair McMillan and Ali in the ex-Ivan Capelli Nissan. Now that's a very special car. It's a four-wheel drive Super Tourer. Yeah, if you get close to that, it really is very much in period clothes, and Ali drives it extremely hard. As through the back straight goes Walsh and Dawson climbing the hill towards Clark Corner, as we see a very, very slow focus going up the main street. Everybody dives for making a way past that. Now look at the Bucking car actually. Let's hope that that car can make it round. as the global light battle. Look at this, 4 cars through the chicane, flying through the chicane, you could almost say. They change direction extremely quickly, these little cars, as do these Nemesis kit cars that Ron Cumming is driving, as Duncan Steele gets caught going through the chicane there by the Nemesis kit car of Ron Cumming and Andy Forrest all over the back of him. We can see Bryden and MacArthur going through the chicane now, carrying a good bit of speed there. Great seeing Radicals back on the circuit at Knockhill as we go through Clark Corner with Greg MacArthur. We wait to see who comes out on top on the global lights, as they're all still together in one big pack as they go up the main straight and over the crest of the hill towards Duffy's Dip. It was, as we said, in qualifying earlier on, a very close affair for qualifying for the global lights. It was Jake Byrne who took the honours just ahead of James Thompson. They actually ended up 9th and 10th overall. As we see them going down there, that's Richard Finlay, car number 7. And Finlay trying as good as he possibly can to keep the pace, because that's what it's all about. It's a long race, it's a 15-lap race, so the guys have to be properly switched on here. And with it being a busy track here, there's going to be all sorts of overtaking, and everybody's going to have their wits around them for the traffic, as we see Heedon now behind the Escort Cosworth of Robert Drummond. Through Clark Corner, Conor May, Ivor Miller in the global GT light class, and side by side up the main street. They're about to make that 3 wide as they go over the crest of the hill. That's Andy Patterson, who was about to get done by the global lights there. And we can see this is a busy race. Now, as a racing driver, it's so important to know what exactly is happening in front of you, especially with cars that are maybe just not as quick as you. And that's where guys like Andy Forrest, this man here, Paul Bryden, they'll be able to deal with the traffic quite well because they're used to multi-class racing. But it's whether the other guys can deal with the multi-class racing that's happening around them. Clark Corner. Through Clark Corner come the 4-5 global lights, and then the 2 leaders of the race with Andy Patterson hard in pursuit there as they head towards the hairpin. Then we've got Bryden coming through. He's got a global light between himself, and that's Richard Finlay. As look at this at the hairpin. Oh, there's a spin. There's a spin. Round goes Forrest, and round goes the global light as well. There was he pushed there. That looked a little bit unfortunate. That was Peter Dredden, caught by Andy Forrest at the hairpin, and that was just a busy track. That's really what you've got to put that down to, a busy track and a very unusual Andy Forrest manoeuvre. We don't see that happening very often. And we've also got another car off at the chicane now, so it's all happening here. So Forrest spins, a global light parks himself in the gravel at the chicane, and now Greg MacArthur gets his way through and heads towards some clear track, which you'll be quite happy with. Car 27 bounces into our view there, and bounce being the very operative word. That was James Thompson and his global light as we get the retirement at the chicane, and that is exactly what you want to do. You get yourself nice and safe round the corner, out of the firing line, and the marshal can make it that. John Kennedy actually heading to the car. He'll make sure that car is safe. Powers off as Ron Cumming. Wow! He had a go at Ali McMillan there, and there was a waved yellow flag at the top of the hill. There's waved yellow flags at McIntyre's, and people are all over the place here. Obviously not seeing the marshal's flag points, and that's not the greatest thing to have happening. But Ron Cumming tried to go up the inside of Ali McMillan, and McMillan turned in towards the apex of the corner, probably not expecting Ron Cumming to be attempting to overtake with that yellow flag. But yeah, a lot of things going on there. As we look back now towards the orange radical, as he follows Paul Bryden through Clark Corner, and Will Robson has a look at global lights, and that is a very slow Ron Cumming in towards the hairpin. Now, has that car sustained some damage with that incident with Ali McMillan at Duffy's Dip? As MacArthur pulls out and passes 57, that's Jake Byrne, fastest global light in qualifying. And he's in a bit of a battle with Thompson and Farrell. As yep, into the pit lane. That looks like it's got a possible puncture on that car. As heading towards the pit lane comes Ron Cumming. It does look a little bit down on the left-hand side, and we've got a wheel pawing the air as well on the right-hand side, so that would possibly tell you there is a back left flat tyre for Ron Cumming. With a little bit of wheel damage there with that collision with Ali McMillan, but Ron Cumming will be back to fight again. As through Clark Corner goes Bryden, And they were just going underneath Tolan there, and that was also MacArthur very much in pursuit, as still the Global Light battle thrives going through the chicane here. As we go back to see Keith Cowie, and that was Conrad Harrison. As we look back towards the hairpin now, in some beautiful sunshine glinting off these cars, still side by side for the Global Lights, and forward comes the safety car now. So it looks like this race might have a safety car popping out. Now will that be, oh, as Bryden tries to go around the outside of McMillan. McMillan gives him nowhere to go, and Bryden goes into the gravel trap and rejoins. It actually looked like Ali McMillan made a little bit of a mistake himself there going into the corner, as Bryden was committed to taking the outside line. There come the safety car boards out on the left of our screen at the chicane. Safety car boards and flags, so the race will be neutralised, and we will pick up with our leader. And if anything, that really helps Andy Forrest, doesn't it? After that spin at the hairpin for Andy Forrest, which we caught on camera, he will get to get back up, not into position, but he'll get to close the gap anyways. MacArthur behind the safety car just now. Greg MacArthur in the Radical SR3 RS. Up the main straight he goes, and everybody just has to catch up now. The Global Light battle still kind of it's still happening, but what it has done is it will be just calmed down a little bit behind the SMRC safety car here. And the question is, how long will the safety car be out for, and will we get an extension of racing laps? As we see a big field of cars, isn't it great to see so many Scottish saloons and sports cars in this race? Obviously the addition of the Global Lights has helped, but very much an open kind of formula racing. You can have so many different types of cars, they all slot into a specific kind of class, and the lights are off the safety car as he mounts a whole heap of curb going through Clark Corner. And who do we have? Well, there's Forrest. He's currently fourth on the road, sorry. Can Andy Forrest catch up with Greg MacArthur? A couple of Radicals battling to Knockhill. Well, that'll go back to the days of the Celtic Cup when the Radicals were at Knockhill and all over Europe. Here we go, MacArthur. Look at the lead he's managed to hold there. McMillan a little bit sleepy on the restart here. Bryden will be spitting bits of teeth, as you can imagine. And here comes Forrest as well. So up the main straight, we're racing again. A possible bit of overtaking before we get to the actual start line again. David Heaton has to, in fact that's Stephen Walsh, just holding back from the Global Lights. Didn't want to pass before he was actually at the start line. But through McIntyre's turn 3 we could see the big guns at the front. We've got Greg MacArthur, Andy Forrest and Paul Bryden. Ali McMillan has found his way in towards that battle as well, as we make good use of the sunny conditions here. These Radicals, they promote so much grip. They give you a great feeling to drive the car around, as still the Global Light battle heads up towards Clark as they bounce through the chicane. Duncan Steele, Will Robson, Stephen Walsh and Andy Patterson, our usual guys in the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship. And through goes Forrest on the main straight. Forrest goes into the lead. We've done that on pure power, it would be seen. And another double waved yellow flag at Duffus Dip. So who have we lost down the bottom of the hill? Cameras haven't picked it up yet, or is it just for that slow moving car? Yes, it is. The very slow moving Focus. That would be better parked up than going round the circuit. The bucking car, obviously a bit of a problem with that car for Mikey, but we'll get that car fixed, I would imagine, for race number 2. Is up the inside of Scott Toland goes James Thompson, and Toland has to get out of the way of this Global Light battle, and that's given Thompson a nice bit of a buffer now, as into the hairpin comes Andy Forrest in the number 2 car. MacArthur comes into view at the apex as well. Forrest accelerates up towards the line as the finish line there in front of us, the start line on top of the hill underneath the Beatson's Building Supply Bridge he goes, and over the crest of Duffus Dip with that car parked on the apex of the chicane. Not sure how long race control will let that sit there for, because if somebody does have a happening going through Butchers, well, that car there is pretty much in the firing line, and if it's a mechanical issue we'll be able to get that fixed, but if it gets hit by somebody it will take a little bit more work, one would imagine. Driver still in the car as well at the chicane, as through comes Andy Forrest and heads towards the hairpin. Bit of a lock up in the background. And it's Mark Dawson side by side up the main straight, but this has been a pretty good battle at the front for Andy Forrest to make his way back from that spin at the hairpin to come back through, catch up with Greg MacArthur and manage to slide his way past. The checker flag flies for Andy Forrest. Did he see it? Yes, probably. Greg MacArthur takes a fine second place, and David Headon will come home 26 seconds in the rear, but a good third and a podium for David Headon. Will Robson, Steve Walsh, Keith Cowie as well inside the top 6, and Conrad Murray, not Harrison, comes home in 7th place.
Andy Forrest, what a recovery at the end there. It was I seen the bit of contact at the hairpin and spun you round. I think you were down to about 6th or 7th at one point there, so good recovery.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than sitting sideways watching all those cars come round and counting on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then you get a clear patch to get back round again. So fortunate there was a safety car and bunched us up again and moved on from there.
Just a difficult thing when you've got so many different classes out there at the one time, and you're all trying to, with the speed of these things, trying to get through the pack. Blue flags were out, but I'm guessing he just didn't quite see you in the mirror.
Well, I'm guessing the global lights guys don't know if they're being blue flagged for another global light behind them or something coming up 30 miles an hour quicker, so it's difficult for those guys. It's quite a speed differential there.
Certainly is, but yeah, great recovery and got there in the end.
Yeah, I did, thanks, it's great.
Okay, thank you. How was that, Will?
Hot. No, it was really good. It was a lot of fun, busier track, made it more exciting, you know, having our the Global Lights visit, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've seen Andy Forrest getting caught out at the hairpin there. He ended up getting spun round, but yeah, it's difficult with the various different speeds and the different classes to work your way through the pack, but managed to do it cleanly and get a race win for the class.
I did, and that's the main thing, just no contact and get the car to finish, which sometimes it's a struggle, but she made it to the end.
Yeah, hot conditions out there, car running fine.
Car's running great, just tyres were the issue. It's hot out there, front wheel drive, too much power. But I know, car's running great.
Too much power, I like it. I've managed to grab Scott Toland, winner of Class A1. Car was looking a bit smoky out there. Did you see that in the old rear view mirror?
Aye, I could see that. As I say, it was clearing up towards the end of the race there. It was in qualifying. I had one of the breather hoses broke on the rocker cover, so I changed that, but obviously with that breaking it spilled 3 or 4 litre of oil down the back of the engine. It was just, couldn't get to clean it. Tried my best, but obviously didn't get it all. But quite confident it's fixed anyway. I was looking under it there and it's no dripping or anything, so should be good.
Yeah, not too bad when it's been a previous oil spill and you're not worried too much about the engine, so just pushing on as normal then.
Aye, just pushing on. I could definitely feel the extra laps towards the end of the race there, so just with the car heating up as much, it was just losing power, but still got there towards the end and not that worried about the oil leaks. It's a cosy. There's no dripping oil, there's nothing in it.
The ECU master had resolved the issue, obviously not. Yeah, that's a bit of disappointment.
The Saloon and Sports Car Championship for the SMRC, supported by ECU Master. Here we go, race number 2, Sunday morning. Same conditions as we had on Saturday, but a lot of people out of position. Ron Cumming further down, we saw him retire. Paul Bryden now. Paul Bryden was disqualified from race number 1 after contact with another car, which was very un-Paul Bryden, we should say, as we see the grid on the screen in front of us with Forrest and MacArthur at the front. But Paul Bryden was disqualified after having contact with another car. I believe there was a coming together with a global light, which is a bit of a shame. It's not like Paul Bryden. He normally deals with multi-class racing, and it does happen. It's one of these things, unfortunately. But here we go. Yeah, not as sunny as yesterday. That was one of the things Will Robson said after the race. It was hot. And it was also fun with the global lights. It was a busy old track. We will have a rolling start for the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship this weekend, because we have got 3 grids for the price of 1. Away go the normal championship runners. Behind them we have a couple of Super Tourers. Paul Bryden will be the last car, then the Super Tourers go away there. There's Conrad Murray. We will have Ali McMillan as well. And then behind them, the Global Lights will also go. There we see the Global Lights now. The visiting series, 600cc engines in the back of those little cars, very fast at cornering, a little bit slower on the straight than some of these cars. So, as you heard Andy Forrest saying, struggling to understand if the drivers in all cars were concerned if the blue flags were for a car that was catching as a faster car or a battling car. The marshals doing a cracking job though, because they were extremely busy throughout the course of yesterday's race, not just with blue flags, with yellow flags, safety car boards, tows, recoveries, you name it. The SMMC and SMRC marshals yesterday absolutely flat out as the safety car comes through Clark Corner with Andy Forrest and Greg MacArthur, the two radicals, tailing him. We then have the lovely Caterham R400 of local Fife man David Heedham. David from Daresy area, just out the back of Cooper St Andrews. And that little Caterham R400, very, very fast. 2.3 litre engine that David sports in that. And he knows how to get it round Knockhill very quickly. We have also got Will Robson and Steve Walsh, Keith Cowie, Conrad Murray, Mark Dawson, Ali McMillan. And then we get into Global Lights. It's Connor Farrell who's the first alongside James Thompson. Fastest man in qualifying was Jake Byrne, but he's got a little bit of work to do in race number 2. The safety car darts down the tri-oval, and we are about to go racing at Knockhill. Controlling the start is Andy Forrest. And they sound great, those radicals. The lights go out and down towards the first corner. Those cars all go. Bryden already making moves further back down with more coming. Very impatient to get through the traffic as we look at the traffic jam which arrives at Duffus Dip and Leslie's. Mark Dawson going past Scott Tolan there, tailing Keith Cowie in towards turn 3, which is McIntyre's. And here come the Global Lights. So if you think you've got through the first part, here we go, another charge down towards Duffus Dip, and it's side by side for the Global Lights in towards the first corner. And thankfully we hold our breath before they're through. Say thankfully, but they all managed to get through. And yes, so for about a lap and a half they'll have a bit of clear traffic, and then, well, Connor Farrell at the front just now, contact further back, and round goes the 179 of Anthony Thompson into the gravel, and that looks like race over already, very early in the proceedings for that to happen. Such is life sometimes. All fair in love and war, with a little bit of contact, I would imagine. Just I couldn't quite see it. Such a look at the time screen. Yeah, Thompson steps out of the car. What was that all about, he'll be thinking, as Ron Cumming and Paul Bryden start to make some manoeuvres through the pack here. Coming ahead of Bryden over. Waved yellow flag at the top of Duffus Dip. And we'll have a green flag at the chicane so they can go back to racing. And Heedon ahead of MacArthur just now. We've got Will Robson, we've got Walsh behind him, then Cowie comes into view as well. But these cars at the front, capable of doing 49-second laps. These radicals around here is coming as a big sideways as he comes through Clark Corner. And Ron Cumming, I would imagine, will be thinking unfinished business with this man, Andy Forrest. But Andy's going slow because we have a safety car. Car in the gravel trap at turn 3, McIntyre's in the head-on position. Race control will want to get that car moved pretty swiftly because it's never a good thing to have a car sitting in the gravel trap in the head-on position. As we wait and see everybody else gets up to hear them. Through the chicane, warming up the tyres, still giving it a nice little move backwards and forward, just to give some heat into the tyres. The thing is, you get a lot of heat from the accelerating and braking. You heat the brakes up, it heats inside of the wheel up. But you've got to watch it, because as soon as you start to lose a little bit of temperature in a slick, there's nothing worse than a slick tyre if it's cold. It will bite you very quickly. And especially those radicals that Forrest and MacArthur are driving, and also Ron Cumming in the Nemesis kit car. You've got to keep the tyre temperature up, because also you keep the pressures up. But the safety car lights are out, and that's good news for us. That means we're going back to racing. Down the trial goes the safety car, parks into a safe area, and away goes Andy Forrest, chased by Heedon, MacArthur, Robson. Look at that, side by side already. Cumming making manoeuvres, and now remember, Ron Cumming started right at the back of this grid of Saloons and Sports Cars, yes, ahead of the Global Lights, but yeah, he's had a bit of a big comeback drive here. Will Robson can clearly see the car coming up behind him. He knows it's faster. He's not going to really be able to put up much of a fight. The quite impressive drive here is from David Heedon, holding off Greg MacArthur in that Radical. The Radical should be a bit faster, and it looks like it is faster. as in towards McIntyre's come the global lights, and it's still Conor Farrell that leads the way, and he's doing that handsomely just now as he goes down through Butchers and over the crest of the chicane. 1, 2, 3, 4, then a gap back to 5th. Remember, Thompson out of the race. Anthony Thompson, we lost him very early, and Conor May didn't start. We lost one of the global lights before the actual start of the race. Car 170, and over the line goes Cowie, Dawson all together, tucked up there. 3 cars that was actually that went past there as the leader. And this, Andy Forrest will be liking this. After the safety car, he gets a nice clear bit of road, sorry, not clear traffic, as they go through the twisty parts, and Ron Cummings ahead of MacArthur. So Forrest's going to have to watch. He can't relax too much, because if he does, that Nemesis kit car will catch him pretty quickly as they head towards the hairpin just now. But Andy Forrest will be enjoying stretching the Radicals' legs just now. That's where we saw him make a very uncharacteristic Andy Forrest error in race number 1, when the car swapped ends and going in towards the hairpin. Coming now ahead of Heedon into 2nd place, but still quite a gap from the guys further back down. We see Duncan Steele coming through there, and Duncan's managed to find himself right in the middle of a global light battle as well, so you'll have to watch out for that one. Scott Tolan splits the 2 Seats in the Escort Cosworth, and Conrad Murray flashes past as well in the X. Was that Tom Chilton car? I believe it was Tom Chilton Focus. Beautiful car, sounds great. And there goes MacArthur making a move on David Heedon at the exit of the chicane, as still Farrell leads the way in the global light battle. Farrell, Byrne, Brennan, Finlay, Conway all together as they all cross the line and head in towards Duffy's Dip for yet another lap. Looking at our smart timing screen just now, in association with Edinburgh Watch Company. The fastest lap of the race so far, Andy Forrest, a 50.1. That's incredibly fast, it really is. Ron Cumming, a 50.3 is his fastest lap, so a couple of tenths shy. David Heedon, what's David Heedon done? David Heedon in the, we've got to remember, much less downforce than Caterham. David's done a 52.9, 52.5 for MacArthur, so these guys all lapping in the low 50-second brackets, which is an extremely hot pace around Knockhill, and now they're having to deal with the traffic again. Andy Patterson stays well out of the way. Duncan Steele about to go a lap down to Ron Cumming as he comes bouncing through Clark's with a bit of a drift. And Edinburgh in the background just beside the treetops there, as once again Keith Cowie and Mark Dawson, you can't separate these guys, the 2 very similar Seat Leon Super Copa cars. This time Cowie ahead of Dawson in the white car, Cowie in the more brightly liveried car, we could see that. That's a bit of help from Mac Motorsport in Dundee, and Marcian Mucha, an ECU master as well, involved in that. Concern as through the chicane comes the global lights. Oh, but look at that, Andy Forrest right in the middle of them now as well, and Ron Cumming comes through as well. Oh, good bit of waving pass for Cumming there. One of the guys in the global lights very switched on with what's happening around him. He could see that happening, and he put an arm out the cockpit just to signal Ron Cumming to pass him on the right hand side. As Andy Forrest arrives at the hairpin here at Knockhill, past our Purvis Plant Hire and John Clark signs, and through he goes up the main straight. He's got 2 cars to pass. He'll pop out. The blue flag was waving on the start line there. The blue flag waving means a faster car is passing you. If the blue flag just held out, well, that just means the faster car's approaching you. So there is a difference in the flags, as Will Robson slithers up the inside of Duncan Steele. And Will Robson, that car's lovely. A lot of fans for that car, the Focus. It's loud, it's fast, it spits flames, it makes pops and bangs. It's almost got a bit of a cult following, as has Will, I should say, as has Will. As Farrell still leads the way in the global light battle just now. MacArthur's in the middle of that, and David Heedon. David looks like he's maybe got a bit of a raw deal with the traffic, just not catching the traffic at the great places. As Andy Forrest now has another 2 cars leaving the hairpin side by side ahead of him, and the global light's still very much in a battle, almost side to side contact across the finishing line there. And that's pretty scary. And Duncan Steele has Keith Cowie and Mark Dawson. Look how those guys have closed right up as they've started to deal with the traffic. Conrad Murray as well, just looking for a battle with anybody that fancies having a battle with him, really. In the ex-Tom Chilton Focus as he comes through Clark's. And a smoky Scott Tolan arrives at the hairpin. Oh, masses of understeer for Scott Tolan going through there. Makes you wonder if that smoke's actually maybe depositing something slippy onto the tyres of that car. And Steve Walsh will be getting a face full of that. And there was a car parked in the Trioval there, which we just got a quick glimpse of as Andy Forrest goes past Andrew Patterson. Patterson, experienced man, saw that happening, stayed well out of the way. And in fact, Andy Patterson going, is he heading for the pit lane? No, he's not. He's just watching the global lights pass him. 1, 2, 3, 4, and Ron Cumming also up the main straight. This is a busy, busy race as Cumming manages to get past everybody on the main straight there. He passed 5 cars from the hairpin to Duffus Dip in his charge to catch back up with Andy Forrest. Forrest started on pole, Cumming started well down the grid. He would have been with Paul Bryden quite far back. And where has Paul Bryden gone, actually? That's a very, very valid point. We haven't seen him. He's on our screen as in pit lane, so or retired from the race. So not good news for Paul Bryden. Disqualification from race number 1 and a DNF from race number 2. And Ron Cumming is starting to put big inroads into Andy Forrest. I believe he's going to run out of time though. Forrest will be just managing what he needs to do in this car as the global light battle once again crosses the line. All together now. Farrell, Byrne, Dreenan and Finlay. In towards Duffus Dip with Duncan Steele getting a grandstand view of it all. And look at the speed and commitment over the top of Duffus Dip from a global light. Huge amounts of effort into getting those cars around Knockhill. Oh, spinner, and that was the car that I just watched going over the top of Duffus. And he's parked it at the bottom of the hill. That's a disastrous place to be. And which global light was that? Was that 179? No, that was Anthony Thompson who was off earlier on. Connor May didn't start the race, so yeah, we've lost one of the global lights at the bottom of Duffus Dip. And driver out the car and running away as the checker flags gets made ready. Forrest wins the race. Andy Forrest in his Radical takes the victory from Ron Cumming in the Nemesis. And what a drive through the pack from Ron Cumming. And here comes our global light battle up towards the flag. It is going to be Connor Farrell who wins it from Jake Byrne and Peter Drennan. And there's the results on the screen. What a comeback drive for Ron Cumming to finish only 3.6 seconds off the back of Andy Forrest. Fabulous stuff from the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship here at Knockhill.
Then we've got Keith Cowie, number 13, and Mark Dawson, number 4, in the 2 Seats. That's the Roger Seat, the white
Race number 3 sees Andy Forrest and Ron Cumming resume pole position on the front row of the grid. Greg MacArthur, David Heaton, Will Robson and Stephen Walsh with Scott Toland and Keith Cowie further back down. We can see Keith Cowie was just about to go on the wrong side of the actual grid there. The grid marshal just pushed him over to the other side. And yeah, here we go. Race number 3 for the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship, supported by ECU Master. And the cars on the grid, and as I've been saying, 3 starts for the price of 1. It was James Thompson, by the way, who we lost in race number 2. The global light who actually managed to land in the gravel trap at the bottom of Duffus Dip. But here we go. We have got heavy moody skies, but as of yet, it is still dry. There is a threat of rain, so we'll just have to see what happens. There goes the 1 minute board, and then we will have our warm-up lap around Knockhill, and then we're set for a set of racing laps. And this will be a cracking final race for these guys. 3 races over the course of a weekend, and the attrition rate has been pretty low, to tell you the truth. We've had a few accidents, a few spins, but there hasn't been very many cars breaking down, which is great to see. Unfortunately, in the front of the grid there, you will notice there was a space. That was where Andy Forrest should have been. Car number 2, not starting this race. He started the first 2, and spots of rain appearing on the camera lens that looks from Duffy's Dip turning point back up the main straight to the Beatsons Building Supply Bridge. And you can see the clouds, yes, and you see some fresh rain spots falling. So this could be interesting. These guys will be out there on, I would imagine, slick tyres as they are allowed them. But how will this unfold for us here at Knockhill? We were all warned that the weather was going to change. A couple of umbrellas up for the spectators as well. And let's see how this one unfolds. The David Leslie tribute meeting. The David Leslie trophy. There will be some trophies for the Super Tourer cars in this part of the Scottish Saloons Sports Car Championship as well. Unfortunately, we're only down to one car. We've got Conrad out there just now. Conrad Murray. We have also got no Ali McMillan. He's disappeared. Robert Drummond's also a non-starter for this one, as is Amber Bird. Connor May, also a non-starter. We mentioned Andy Forrest. Paul Bryden, again a non-starter. Well, non-finisher in the last race, but a non-starter. So Paul Bryden has had a really bad weekend, to tell you the truth, and that's not normal for that car or the driver. They're normally very, shall we say, bulletproof. I like to think they are anyway. And we'll see Paul Bryden, I'm sure, back at another SMRC meeting throughout the course of the year, as we once again come past our Purvis Plant Hire and John Clark Motor Group signage at the hairpin. The safety car lights are off, which is always a good sign here. He will turn hard right down the tri-oval, and Ron Cumming will control the start of this race. He's got Greg MacArthur, who will leave that front row empty, where number 2 Andy Forrest should have been. And more spots of rain, and away we go. David Heading trying to come alongside in towards Duffy's Dip, but Ron Cumming will control the race as they go over the crest of Duffy's Dip. Keith Cowie also making a manoeuvre past Steve Walsh, and this time getting left behind him as the Global Light Pack starts. Getting left behind Cowie was Mark Dawson, and that's not normal. Dawson right up at the front, and Will Robson's come through to third, Scott Tolan fourth, and David Heading just slipping down a little bit, maybe not 100% happy with his tyre choice in these conditions just now. Through the Global Light Pack, Richard Finlay in car number 7 there, the black car, 4th place just now, as Connor Farrell, James Thompson, who will be out for revenge, I would imagine, after that spin he had earlier on. And the fastest man in qualifying, Jack Byrne, as well. He has got he's got something to prove in this one for the Global Light race, so we'll keep our eyes pretty much fixed on that as well. The timing screen is a very busy one to look at. There's another big plume of smoke comes out from Scott Tolan's car there as he goes into Duffy's Dip. David Heading follows him in car number 78, the Caterham R400, and more spots of rain now falling on the cameras at the Exeter McIntyres as Will Robson goes through. The question is, when will the rain start to have an effect on the tyre and make the tyre slippy, and what will happen as the Global Lights? Well, it doesn't seem to affect them, does it? They are extremely brave drivers in those little cars, and the corner speed of the Global Lights is the most surprising part of it. As into the hairpin comes the Nemesis car of Ron Cumming, which we saw having contact with Ali McMillan in a race earlier on, which he retired from. And then the comeback drive in race number 2 from the back of the grid all the way up to just finishing 3 seconds off the back of Andy Forrest was something pretty sensational, to tell you the truth, as they go over the crest of the hill. David Heading trying to get past Scott Toland in the Escort, and it looks like the Caterham R400 on the inside line will have that one sewn up by the time he gets to Duffy's Dip. Yes, David Heading makes his move and makes it stick, and Toland's going to have to watch out, because incoming now is Keith Cowie, car number 13, a regular at Superlap Scotland and in the chase race as well, graduating up towards SMRC. We've seen Keith do quite a lot of racing at the SMRC, and that car, he's had a few troubles with it, but it seems to be back on song now, as once again Ron Cumming into the hairpin. You can see that car just looks properly planted, sits down well on the brakes, doesn't look too edgy, as Greg MacArthur in hot pursuit, we will see, in the Radical SR3, goes over the crest of the hill as well. And remember, there were 50-second laps that Ron Cumming and Andy Forrest were pulling in race number 2. Got to say for this one though, with these spots of rain, a quick look at the timer screen, will Ron Cumming be pushing it as much? That's something we'll need to keep our eye on. He doesn't have Andy Forrest to try and catch. He doesn't need to push as hard, but when you're in the zone, there's only one thing you can do, and that's you go as fast as you possibly can. Through Clarks goes first and second. David Heaton would be the next man through. As the global light battle comes through, they're starting to go past Patterson. It is 129 Colin Farrell. Just now Connor Farrell, not Colin Farrell. He's a movie star, isn't he? As into toughest dip they all go. Mikey Buchan has got that Ford Focus fixed, and he's back on track as well now, which is great news for his team and his supporters. Mikey works away, does a lot of oil industry work, shall we say, and back now and again, and always manages to squeeze an SMRC in when he's back, so that's great news as well. A lovely little car, that, the purple and yellow car. Just a few teething problems, we shall say, but we'll get to the bottom of those teething problems, and the car should be quick. As into the traffic now comes car number 9, Ron Cumming. A whole heap of global lights to get through. John Conway and Ivor Miller are the first of the couple of global lights to go under the cosh of Cumming. Then it'll be Gary Mitchell and Mike Conway as well. As through the hairpin they all come over the line. 1, 2, then a bit of a gap back to Richard Finlay. And then another gap back, but here comes Ron Cumming now, starting to make his manoeuvre and get through the pack. And where is Greg MacArthur? There he is there. Greg MacArthur, what's his lead over David Heaton like? Well, substantial, isn't it? We couldn't even see David Heaton coming into the apron. Waved yellow flag. So who have we lost? And the flag now gets pulled in. So, very quick spin there, something happening. As there goes David Heaton now, and he's back with Will Robson. So the gap from MacArthur back to Heaton is, shall we say, large enough to annoy David Heaton as Buchan stays out the way. He sees the Radical coming through, and then the global light goes to one side, so the Radical, will it go through between both? Yes, it does. Brilliant move from Greg MacArthur as Duncan Steele decides to take a little trip through the gravel at the exit of turn 3 McIntyres, rejoins at Butchers, and will deposit a whole heap of gravel in the direction of Keith Cowie, who comes through. As we go back on board now with Greg MacArthur. Watch the speed of this Radical up the main straight. There's the global light, 600cc engines, and that's also Andy Patterson. That's no slow BMW. 5th gear, 6th gear underneath the bridge. How many gears for toughest dip does he go down? We would jump away from the camera angle just as we were going to watch that. But Greg MacArthur showing the Radical with the paddle shift up the main straight. An air-operated system on a Radical, if I'm not mistaken, for the gears. As the camera comes back round, oh, Buchan into the tyre wall, or should I say the recticel. That will be a bit of a bump for Mikey there. He'll jump out of that car, make himself safe, so that's a shame. Has the rain now started to have an effect on the track? You can see the big skid marks going off the surface there as Greg MacArthur comes in towards the hairpin now. But Buchan will he'll be ruining that one. And he'll live to fight another day, though. The good thing is if you do bounce off the foam recticel to say the track, it doesn't damage the car. The safety car has come forward now. Will race direction or race control throw the safety car out for that car in the gravel trap at turn 3? I would possibly imagine yes, because earlier on when Anthony Thompson in a previous race went off in his global light there, they'd done the exact same. And there goes MacArthur past the scene of Buchan's stricken Focus. We wait to see exactly what will happen, and it does look like the tarmac is now starting to change colour a little bit, which usually means there's a little bit of moisture lying on it, and it will have an effect on the grip levels, although those global lights come through, and yeah, they look just as fast. Having said that, they are all avoiding the exit curbs quite a bit. Heaton comes through, yeah, and David Heaton looks like he's knocked it well off. Is that because just out of our sight we've got the safety car flags and boards? Yes, we have. Keith Cowie comes through turn 3 McIntyres, and we can see there waved yellow flags and the safety car board from the marshals. And we will have to try and do something well with that Mickey Buchan car, which is into the recticel. The question is, how many laps have we done? Yeah, we're almost at whatever race control wants to do here, we're almost at the point where they could declare this one a race, especially with the rain starting to fall a little bit more consistently, which will have a large effect. But anyway, Ron Cumming, well, he's been pretty special in this race, hasn't he? Leading from the front, still doing very fast laps as Buchan jumps back down. Marshall Gordon Melville there, we can see The man in charge of McIntyre's making sure that that car is isolated power-wise and nice and safe to return to. Looking down into the global lights is Jake Byrne. He is ahead of Peter Drennan and Connor Farrell, the 1, 2, 3 in that class just now. And if we have a look at the top of the times though, it would be Cumming, MacArthur and Heedon, the top 3 on the road, as the recovery pickup arrives at McIntyre's. Seem to be doing a live snatch here. Oh. Yes, commentator got a fright there. Didn't know where the breakdown truck was about to go to, as the safety car has picked everybody up now. 51.6 fastest lap off the race on our smart timing screen in association with Edinburgh Watch Company. 51.6 seconds for Ron Cumming. Compare that to what he did in race number 2. If we look at our timing sheet of 50.3 for Ron Cumming, but those were done in perfect conditions, and they were also done with a purpose as well, those 50-second laps, because he was chasing down Andy Forrest. Forrest not in this race, but Cumming still sending quick laps, 51.6. Greg MacArthur's fastest lap is a 52.6. And if we have a look at Greg's lap, it was a 51.9 he managed earlier on in race number 2, earlier on the Sunday. David Heedon, 54.903, and Heedon will be happy with that one, but David won't want to risk that car too much. He's not doing the full championship, he's doing selected rounds, shall we say, for Heedon. And the selected rounds that he wants to do are the ones he has a lot of fun at, and this is a good round to do because it is also a kind of day and a half meeting. So we're going to finish under a safety car, which is never the greatest thing, but Ron Cumming will take the honours as the live snatch continues at turn 3. Cumming wins from MacArthur and Heedon, with Cowie inside the top 5, Conrad Murray getting a top 5 as well, Dawson, Walsh, Tolan, Byrne and Drennan. Well, there you go, that's your global lights as well. That's 9th and 10th on the road, 1st and 2nd in the global lights. Fabulous Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Championship race in association with ECU Master here at Knockhill Racing Circuit.
So Andy Patterson, you've just said that it's the first time this year you've finished 3 out of 3 races. You quite happy?
I am absolutely over the moon just to have finished a complete meeting without breaking down, unlike the rest this year. So there you go, Duncan, a bit of reliability at last.
And that race was a bit hectic, wasn't it?
It was a bit hectic. I didn't know where I was. I just want keep it on the track, don't slide off. It's getting slippy out here. Let the global lights past, and fingers crossed we get to finish. And it worked out.
You look very happy anyway.
I'm over the moon. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's it here today at Knockhill Racing Circuit for the Scottish Sports and Saloons Car Championship. See you next time.